All right, let's move on to reports from subcommittees. Community outreach, Ms. Fine.
I have to look up the date. Do you know the date? Is it Tuesday the 26th? Our next meeting? Yes. Our next meeting will be Tuesday the 26th. All of our committee meetings are now going to be held in the basement of the Plaza del Sol building, and that outreach meeting is at 1 o'clock. Isn't that right? It's 1 o'clock. At our last meeting, I was elected chair, so that was news. And in addition to that, we had a conversation about the outreach plan moving forward. I also serve on the case review committee, and I'm not sure what I'm going to report to you. If it's somewhere, it has one foot in outreach and another foot in case review. So I want to share that information with you. From the case review committee, we looked at the case of the 7-year-old girl with bloody underwear that everybody's read about in the paper. And also, we know about the case with Victoria Martins and Omar Varela. And in the case review committee, we talked about not only going through those cases and as inspired by the 7-year-old case, the more recent one, but to also have a meeting with the chief, our whole committee to have a meeting with the chief and Mr. Harness, and as it turns out, Ms. Martinez was able to join us as well from the Department of Justice. And so the other two committee members were not able to be there that day, but the purpose of our meeting was to have a conversation about overall these abuse cases. What are we learning? What is the department learning? What barriers are they facing, being a consumer, just the general public who we represent? It is hard to listen to those terrible stories about children in harm's way, and yet, it's not going to stop. They'll keep coming. And so we need to make sure that our systems are as hardwired as they can be. And so we met with the deputy chief, and Mr. Harness can tell you his name. I can't think of it right now. The commander of the Family Advocacy Center, who deals with all violent crime and is the commander of all violent crime for APD, and the lieutenant who is in charge of the Crimes Against Children unit. We had a really frank conversation about how important these types of cases are to the community because they're absolute innocence, the absolute innocence of children. And so we really wanted to hear from the police department and ask them direct questions if they had studied these cases across the board and if they had learned anything. Of course, there has been a change in the leadership of the police department. There's been a change in the leadership of the state and CYFD in particular. That being said, I don't think it matters. This is not about personalities. It should never be about personalities. It should be about hardwiring the relationship between APD and who was ever in charge of the CYFD. And the leadership that was meeting with us was very supportive of that idea. And in fact, the commander of the Family Advocacy Center suggested that perhaps they should be working with MOUs between themselves and CYFD because the next case is coming. Pay attention because it will come. You cannot stop this kind of violence from happening 100%. But you can make a difference and make sure that when you're getting this information, that you are sharing the most valuable information with the police officers who are in the front line. of that kind of problem. So our purpose in visiting with them was really just talk about what are you doing, what are you doing within your own department, what are you doing with CYFD, what have you learned across the board on these cases. And they were very forthright. They gave us a lot of information, including in your packet, board members, is the study that we had asked for. That happened after Omar Varela case was subsequent to the Omar Varela case. And so that's a piece of it. We also got, and you'll get this in the mail, board members, is 5, what do you call them? The letters that go out before the policy's changed. What's it called?
Supplemental orders.
Special orders.
Special orders.
Special orders. And we got copies of 5 of those that were generated as a result of those 3 cases. And you'll be getting those as well. And the reason we gave them to you now, and we'll give the rest of it to you in the next few days, is because we have asked APD's lieutenant in charge of crimes against children to come and talk to this body about this and about the efforts that they're making. They feel very positive about the relationship that they and the conversations they are having with CYFD now. Like I said, we all agreed that hardwiring this is important. But we encourage them, Mr. Harness and I encourage them to really take a hard look at this and bring the community with them, because they may be making changes, but if the community doesn't hear about it, the next time it happens, you will have grown not at all. And so it's important that if they learn things, I'll give you an example. One of the things with the 7-year-old case that I thought was really telling was at the Real-Time Crime Center, which is a wonderful program that we have here. The Real-Time Crime Center organizes its information based on the location, the address of the victim, of the call. Where are they going? Well, as it happens in that case, that family moved around from one location to another. So part of the reason the police didn't have all the information at one time was because it was organized by address, and the addresses weren't the same for the same family. So now they've made changes so that it's by address and also by name. So that is something they learned. It's a concrete example of what they learned. And I think it's important that the community get to learn as they learn, as the police department learns. The community needs to learn as well, because these are complex issues. And so I'm encouraged that they will be coming next month to this meeting to report on this very thing. We're not done with the cases. Obviously, we're still drilling down on those, and we still have some questions about some of those. But like I said, the next case is coming at some point, and I've been in human services long enough to know that there's no stopping that. So we need to be prepared, and the community needs to step up and do the right thing. So does APD, and we've invited them to do it here.
Any other comment?
I just wanted to let you all know that.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Did I take too long? I'm sorry.
Good. Not at all.